Hey, how you doing? Thanks for coming. Hope you enjoyed the show. Before we get going, the winners of the fancy dress competition are Amy Bailey and Michael Heslop. So if you come down here, I think front of the house.
Can I just say, Michael is a student of mine at St. John's College. I've taught him well.
Front of house, do we have something for the guys? It's like clockwork. So smooth. Congratulations! We could get the house lights up a little bit, if that's possible. Thanks, Frank. Hi, so I'm Ross, and I'll be helping out with questions today. So we've got a few that people have emailed in, tweeted us that we'll start with. We'll open it out to the floor as well. You don't have a mic, so you just have to project onto so we can hear you.
That shouldn't be a problem.
Good. So guys, pick it up as when you want to, and if you don't, then I'll obviously put it on one of you. But the first one I think is quite a nice one to start with, is how did you know you wanted to work in theatre?
Well, how did I know? From a young age, that's all I did. I was doing shows at Christmas and pantos and, you know, going to Saturday schools of drama and dance, and that was it. I just knew. I had the bug when I was little. I don't know about anyone else. And I love theatre. And, you know, I, from a young age was doing shows and tap dancing in the bath, as we all do. Nat, how about you?
I was a show-off. Still are. Yeah, just loved showing off and being that kid, and did karaoke in Spain once, and the woman was like, "You should probably get singing lessons," which I don't know if that was like a... Lol, you've not got the mic now, so calm down. Sorry, it's just marriage, you know? No, I was a show-off, that's basically it. Anyway.
Yeah, get one more.
Okay. It's so weird because I wanted to be a singer, I wanted to be a pop star. And then I was on holiday with my family, and I sang karaoke, and they were like, "Oh, we should put her on stage show." I sang Whitney Houston. No, Whitney. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then, yeah, just trained and fell into theatre.
Yeah. I think it's true, like everyone wants to do it, and it's, you know, it's hard work, and it's working through that, isn't it? It's trying to sustain your love for theatre into when you actually get to do it, because, you know, it's like anything else, it's a hard graft, it's lots of work, and it's, you know, you do lean on that back when you really enjoyed it. I've done it for a long time, I still love it. What's your best stage experience, Jordan, ever?
As in, like, best show, or...
Well, either or.
This one, for sure. I'm not even just saying that, like, genuinely, this is, like, I feel very lucky to be able to play this part and be with this group of people, because everybody's so phenomenal. Best stage experience, though, okay, well, if I'm not talking about a show in particular, probably I performed with Battle of Hell at BBC Proms in the Park. That was amazing, like Hyde Park, on TV, BBC. That was pretty epic, but definitely this show, if I had to pick.
What about you, Clyde?
Ooh, I feel like any time I've been able to be on stage, I've always felt like that is the best thing. Like I just enjoy it. I think a moment or two is when I was fortunate enough to be able to perform at the Olivier's, and I've done it twice, which was amazing. And then the second year being able to perform whilst being nominated was like crazy. So yeah, that I think for me was an experience that I will never ever forget.
Pretty special one. Hey, can we move on? Okay. Do you have any...
I can say what mine is.
Yeah, great, go.
Because I was in the original cast of Sister Act. And we had, towards the end, Whoopi Goldberg came and joined us. And so sharing time with her on stage was probably one of the most special things I've ever experienced. She was a beautiful person, but still is.
Yeah, it's always lovely as well, isn't it, when you work with somebody that is as iconic as that and has been so successful, but they are genuinely lovely people, and that's always a lovely surprise when that happens. Any of you have any pre-show rituals? Clyde, Ake?
Ross has brought this to me.
Well, it's on the list, mate. It's on the list.
In our dressing room, every day at the 5, the 5 is when we get our 5-minute call before we have to come down for the show. We play a song called Ain't No Fish.
Classic.
I'm done working, darling. But you like, for those of you who are like, who follow the Bonnie and Clyde Instagram account, you will have probably seen a video or a couple of videos of the dressing room, and the song annoys the hell out of everyone. So, job done.
Pre-show ritual. What's your favourite song to sing in the show? Or your favourite song in the show?
Okay, I've got 3.
Oh, okay.
My favourite solo song is definitely Raise a Little Hell. Just because the journey and the notes is pretty good. And then if a duet would be mine and Frankie's Too Late to Turn Back Now. I love singing that. And also When I Drive is my third. But I also like the other duet that we sing in Act 2. I like the finale.
So you can see why this is your favourite show. What about you?
I love to listen to When I Drive, and also Raise a Little. I love watching it at the side.
You have to say one of yours because now I'm not.
It's because I get to stand at the side and enjoy it, and we get to dance. We do, we have a whole routine. What's the routine? Yeah. You have to sing.
Moving on to another question. What excites you most about telling this story?
I think the journey that Bonnie goes through, is an amazing part to play. From her beginning and this humble beginnings in a diner, and then falling in love with Clyde and just going down this path, and there's no going back. There's not many roles like it where you get to have this full journey, but also because she's a real person, she existed, so I have all this material to work from.
Yeah.
Which is amazing, so I get to have the facts but also make it my own, which is really nice, because sometimes, when it's a fictional character, you get to do it all by yourself, but to have the material there to work from already is really incredible.
Yeah, it's quite lovely. Look, a lot of the time when we were in rehearsals, and we would talk about like pictures that we'd seen or stories that we'd heard, and we'd talk about that collaboration and kind of be like, in this picture, do you think this is when that happened, or do you think that is? It's quite lovely to have something to lean on, isn't it? Now, what about you? What excites you about telling the story?
Well, for me, like personally, I'm always, and in this show, wanting to play comedy. But I really love that in this show, for the first time ever, I get to have that really dramatic ending, and she has a very unique story, because she really is going along because she wants to go for her husband. She's not going because she wants to hurt anyone or she wants to, steal from anybody. She's going for love, and she's a bit of a nightmare. But I do like that at the end she gets that really nice moment, and I think she gives it. She's hopefully not me doing it, but just that role. She grounds it when everything's going crazy around her. She's there because she wants to make it better and not. I don't know what I'm trying to say.
I remember in rehearsals we had.
Do you know what I'm trying to say?
We had a discussion about you wanting to earn that moment at the end and making sure the audience is with you, and I do think. Especially with Blanche and Buck, they love each other, despite they're never really arguing at each other. They're never really going for each other.
Yeah.
They're always united in everything that they do, and the hardships of the depression, of the situation they're in. I mean, for all intents and purposes, you know, she's all right. She's got a
She's a
business.
nightmare, but for a
yeah.
reason. She's, you know, it's because she doesn't want him to do this.
Yeah.
And she doesn't like them because he wants to do it because of them.
Yeah, and there is a, George, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I think he wants to do it for her. There's a bit of a myth. He looks up to his younger brother. You know, he idolises Clyde, and as most people do, Clyde has this magnetism that's what he was like in real life, and that's what we have in this show. So I think, but what Buck is torn by is he just wants the ordinary life. He loves Blanche. He wants that, but he wants not only better for them, but also the thrill and what Clyde has. But he could never be Clyde, I don't think. And he dies. You know, they all. Sorry, no one's seen it. They're all dead now. So it's true. That's it. Next question.
I'll open up to the audience in a minute, but we had a lot of questions about, because it is such a big seeing and it's such a demanding show for everyone here. Like, are there things you do to look after your voices? How do you look after yourself when doing a show? It's something that quite a lot of people are interested in. Let's go over this way. No.
No, I mean, the vocals in the show, we can all attest to that, are really demanding. They're almost unreasonable. And so I personally, I love wine. But I don't have it. At all, I don't have it. I have one on Sunday. I have my little glass of wine, and that's okay. So, it's just got to take care of yourself, I guess, and hydrate.
Quite a few of us have nebulizers, so we're constantly steaming backstage, and then, like for myself, I'll go home and steam, wake up and steam, in the shower steaming, and then just drinking as much water as possible. Honestly, water is a lifesaver.
And it works differently for everyone. I've spoken to a lot of the guys about it, and it's different to every person. You have to find a way that works for you. For some people that is doing their own vocal warm-up, for some people that is, taking care of it. I mean, going back to the work ethic on a show like this, you really do live the show. Do you know what I mean? You go to bed, you wake up, and you think, I hope I can sing today, not me. But and so it really is important. Like Jordan, have you got any special things there?
No, you pretty much covered it. I do drink wine quite a lot. But I drink a lot of water, which balances it out. Yeah, for me it's just making sure I'm staying hydrated. I try not do too much of a warm-up, because someone told me once if you warm up too much, then you're kind of like leaving your best notes in your dressing room, and then you've worn yourself out. So I try and keep my warm-up to a minimum. But yeah, we kind of all are like the nebulizer crew. We're all backstage like and yeah, just like taking it easy. Like, that's the thing when you're doing we do 7 shows a week. When you're performing this much a week, it's actually behind the scenes where you're putting in so much work. Like, your lifestyle does change as a performer. You can't be going out to parties every weekend and doing like all that kind of thing. So your social life might suffer slightly, but it's because you're putting in the work to make this as good as it possibly can be.
Yeah, and likewise, for the guys that understudy these guys, you can be thrown on at a moment's notice, so they've all got their own routine as well. Has anyone got a question? Yeah.
What is it about this show do you think connects so powerfully with specifically like young adult audiences?
Yeah, great question, Frankie.
I think, for one, Bonnie and Clyde themselves were young, and when the Great Depression, there was nothing else to do, so they found their own path. Like they made their own lives, even though it was the wrong lane to go down. Like, it's exciting, and that's why people admire them, because it's like, yeah, they've just said, there might be a depression, but we're going to go out and live the life that we want and have the things that we want. So there is something admirable in that. But yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of just following on like people love the story of the underdog, and like people that are standing up to society and like rebelling against the police and the government, and so that's why kind of at the time they became so famous and adored, even though they were in the newspapers committing these crimes, is because they were seen as the heroes who were standing up for the general public in a way, which doesn't excuse what they did. But I feel like that's kind of why the younger generation do kind of gravitate towards it, is because we all love a story of people standing up against society.
Yeah, sadly, you know, I think not much has changed, even though such a long time has passed. You know, we've seen it during the pandemic stuff, how, you know, the young want a voice. I've got 2 adult children myself that are 18, 20, don't think too young. But you know, I do see, I think that the correlation with regards to, you know, the struggle that is in this play and in this piece. And, you know, we see it with the youth now. They want a voice and they are being heard. It's a really great question.
I think the music as well.
I think the music, you know, I think that it's got this score that is just hooks you in and is instantly sort of moving and catchy and cool and also of the time but modern at the same time, which is amazing. So yeah, I think it's that's the thing that really struck me first of all. The score was just very unique and brilliant and really captured these people and what was going on. Yeah.
And also, sorry, just to add on. I feel like people love a history lesson in a musical these days, like Six, Hamilton, this. So I feel like people like to come to the theatre and learn something, so maybe that's also why the younger generation...
It was actually a discussion that I had with Nick in the audition process about Nick Nielsen, director and choreographer, about the show and about what he wanted to achieve with it. And one thing that was really clear is that he wanted to have it as it was, and not just a musical, but to have the grit and the hardship and the violence that was attached to it. And I think that, you know, that is all exciting, you know, whether it's right or wrong. It's an exciting subject to put on stage, and I think that's been done brilliantly by Nick on this. Yeah.
If you could play one other character regardless of gender, what would it be and why?
It's a hard question.
Huh? What do you think?
It's a very hard question.
I don't. Actually, to be honest, me and Frankie really want to do a version of When I Drive. So I think I would be Buck and you would be Clyde.
Let's do it.
Yeah? Shall we? Great. Someone get the tyre. Someone said now.
I think it's difficult because I think it's difficult to answer because all the parts are so great. Like, I wouldn't be happy to play any of them, to be honest. I'd give Bonnie a go. That's fine.
Another question? Yeah.
Oh, what Hogwarts house would your
Oh,
What Hogwarts house?
my daughter's really into Harry Potter. Yeah, so like, literally have to say Gryffindor, 'cause otherwise I'll be in trouble. And then I think Buck would probably be like Hufflepuff, wouldn't he? Wants to be a Gryffindor and the hat just goes, nah. Hufflepuff,
Well, I'm genuinely sorry for what I'm about to say. I've not really seen. I'm so However, my boyfriend and I went to Universal, and apparently, sorry, I'm literally like, do you not watch Harry Potter? But I think I'd be the. Well, look at me. Be the evil Slytherin. So I guess that one. Blanche would be a Gryffindor. Do you think? She's got a good heart.
I want to see Slytherin.
So we started together.
Yeah, I guess Slytherin, because that's the evil house, right? So. But then they're not evil. They do have good hearts. They just get wrapped up.
Yes! Just the killing.
Gryffindor, I guess. Ted would be Gryffindor.
Yes.
I'm very old.
I have no idea what that
Yeah, in the middle.
Me?
I can't see the line. Hand up right in the middle, about 3 grades back. Yeah.
What advice would you give to someone just starting in the industry, like what do you want
I heard the first part. Say that again.
What advice would you give someone wanting to study or work in the industry?
I mean, there's so much. I think one of the first things about the industry is it's hard work. There's a lot of work that you have to put in, and I feel for myself, and I can't speak for anyone else, but for myself, I feel like you have to genuinely love what you do. You have to love this because there is so much that this industry will put you through. That love for it has to overpower any whatever negative things might be pushed towards you. But be a sponge, take everything in, learn as much as you can, and then what works for you, use it. What doesn't work for you, cool, great, set it aside. And just remember that it's fun. Like, don't ever forget that you do this because you love doing it.
Yeah, kind of, well, just everything that you said. And I think if I could go back when I was like starting in the industry, I would just kind of tell myself to not compare myself or my journey to other people's around me, because for some people it might happen really quickly, and for some people it takes a little bit longer. But I just truly believe that if you have this self-belief and you work hard, then you can achieve anything in life. So that's kind of where I stand on that.
Just always be good to other people and be honest and be yourself. I think that's the one thing that sometimes actors get a bad name, and people can be sort of. You often hear that, like, I met this actor and they were really nice. I'm surprised because actually sometimes actors can be bad. But I think if you do what you do because you love it, but also you just treat other people with respect, and you know yourself and you're a good person, then it will come back round and people will want to work with you, and that's important as well, I think.
100% the people that work the hardest are the nicest, work the most. That's it. Someone else up the top? Yeah, at the back? Yeah, with you.
What's your favourite on or off stage moment that you've had working on the show so far?
I've got to say. So there's a scene where me and Nat come on, and it's just yeah, and it's just after Ted and Barney sing a song, very nice sings and ice cream parlour and all of that. And we're side stage, and our sort of music starts, our scene change music, and it's kind of like it's kind of like sort of Western. And I decided, just for the bit where you can't see us, as we're about to come on the wings, to sort of gallop on a horse. As I was doing it, I stepped on Nat's foot. So I went down, stepped on her foot, turned around to see if she was okay, and went, headbutted her so hard, it was so loud, the noise was like 2 bits of bone hitting each other, and then
we had to come on stage and
stand laughing.
And it was we cracked heads.
Breakages, yeah. That was a highlight for me. It was like Laurel and Hardy.
Yeah, like the comedy duo on and off stage.
And on the first preview, at the end where we get into the car and we've just been shot, and then the door wouldn't close. So I closed the door, we were saying, and then we turned around and we're dead, and I could see the door had swung open. And then what I should have done is just left the door, but in my head, I don't know the stage well enough, so I thought maybe something could fly in and knock the door off. And so I was dead, and I literally went.
The question? Yes. Are we getting a cast down? I don't know. Maybe. But honestly, we can't. Don't know. Possibly. Maybe if you make loads of demands for it, then it will definitely happen. But, yeah.
When you were researching the lives of the real people, was there anything that surprised you about them that maybe changed how you can approach them?
I think because we did the concert and then having a full rehearsal period coming into the show was amazing. So I've had the chance to do more research and find new things and just create a more well-rounded character. And there was a part in a book that Ivan, the Holy Book, gave us. And it was about how Bonnie, when she was younger, was just like fearless, and she would always ready for a fight. And like if you say something bad to her, she's in there like you're knocked out. So reading that, I was like, oh, I love that for when Blanche says that line. Like, yeah, like she would go for it. She would take him out.
I see you in that scene. Genuinely, when you come to it.
So it's nice, like I get to be like, she's a bit sweet, and then she switches, and then it's just like a whole roller coaster journey.
Clyde?
I did quite a bit of research on Ted, and when I had initially read the role of Ted within the script, he felt he felt a bit like he was just putting himself in spaces without like people giving him permission to be there, like just entering Bonnie's house and all of this kind of stuff. And I felt that the characterization of that was a bit odd. And then I read into Ted, and Ted was actually a really lovely human being. From the beginning part, him actually knowing Bonnie and how respectful he was towards her. He never really actually made he never stepped towards her and said anything that would have, I don't know, I guess been how Clyde was. So I just tried to embody that and try and bring as much of that kindness into the character and to make him seem a little less weird and obsessed. I mean, he still is a little bit obsessed, but I love the fact that they've written what we call the ice cream song, which is the new duet between Bonnie and Ted, because it gives a little bit of context to their friendship, so it doesn't all seem as obsessive.
I think it's fair to say as well that that people, I'm going to pass it over, but I think, but I think it's fair to say that you can, as actors, you consistently discover more stuff as you do a show and as you go along with the show. But on this one, you've got to double check it. It's like, would that be true? So sometimes, someone will discuss something. I remember Nat saying to me, why did he say deputy at that point? I was like, oh, and we had a look at it, like, oh, there was more than one deputy. So it's, the finite details that make you question a certain thing, but we have a lot of literature to wade through to make sure that the decisions we make are worthy of that choice.
Loads of photos too, like
Loads,
you
yeah.
can't find from just like a random, even now, like randomly Google something. I showed you.
Yeah.
You don't know who this person was, but he's got Blanche, and he's really happy.
Yeah.
And she's distraught because of the whole butt thing, and we don't know finding folks like that kind of.
And that's the same for everyone in the cast. You know, even the parts you see for AC. You know, there's a wealth of discovery to be had on, you know, the governess or Hamer or the sheriff. You know, and it's really exciting reading all that stuff.
Your character has a great series that we're talking about, The Highway, with Kevin Costner and Woody Harrelson.
Great
I
film,
watched
yeah.
It's like amazing. Like they brought him back from retirement, they came in to hunt them down. It's like
And actually, when I was reading about Hamer, he was nearly Clyde. Like they both, I think, had seven. They're one of 7 siblings, and there was a particular night when Hamer was going to make a robbery on a bank, and somebody stopped that night, and he says it could have been me. I was stopped that night, and I went down the path of catching people like Clyde, but it could have very easily have been Clyde. So it's, you know, it's tiny margins in all those characters and making sure that you do service to them. Yeah.
So my question is kind of for all of you, and it's sort of about like, the process. So I was just wondering, sort of, you've all presumably had like a breadth of experience in acting, but I was wondering how it differs creating a character who's completely fictional or maybe based on a movie or something like that, versus somebody with that backstory and almost the homage to history. Like, does it almost like limit the creativity that you have because you have to follow like sort of a perception of him, or how, or does it expand it once?
I mean, it's an interesting question because it depends on, you know, Bonnie and Clyde and this whole story that our people have been dramatised and romanticised since even when they were doing this. You know, they became sort of folk legends and heroes. You know, if you're playing someone that is popular in modern culture, then I suppose people want to see a likeness or a. But actually, for something like this, I think it's about doing all the research, finding out as much as you can, and then just capturing the spirit of that person and portraying a role on stage that people get. I don't think, you know, because no one, you know, people don't know exactly what they were like. You know, we're retelling a story that's been retold and retold and retold, and yeah, I think it's to be able to do your own interpretation is quite important as actors, I think.
Me. Thanks, Jordan. Well, yeah, like, and in the past, for me, I've played a role that's kind of so heavily based on a real person that, like, I ended up driving myself kind of crazy because I was like, it needs to be kind of really, it was someone that everybody, you know, someone that people knew. And it could be like this for this, but I think, you like you say, if you capture the spirit, and it does, it becomes its own thing, and how you react with other the other actors' versions of their characters, and hopefully if you've got that spirit of the character and the truth, then hopefully it comes across okay. Not making any sense.
Okay, we have one more question, and I'm afraid we're going to have to wrap it up. Yeah.
So I would like to hear, how hard was it to do the Southern American accent, and what if you had a process to get it through? Like, what was your process?
No. I think it's like you just kind of hit some accents in college, so you've got like stock accents, and that was one of them.
Actually, because Akko is American, so there were times in the rehearsal room where people like, oh, actually say it like this or say it like that, which, you know, really helpful.
So then can I counter my question, because I get it a lot from my UK British friends. Do you get into arguments with your UK friends on how to say things properly? all the time.
That's crazy.
To give you an example really quick,
Yeah,
one of my best friends, I say process, and I say process, and she's like, no, it's process, and I'm like, I've only been living here 8 months, give me time, but like, and it's like how you guys say scheduled, and it's just, I'm like, no, I am sticking on to my American ways for certain things, so it's like certain...
You stick to your American ways.
Yeah. You guys. Look, well, that's it, guys. Thank you. Thank you for coming to see the show. Thank you for supporting it. Thank you to all of you that have dressed up and to continue to come back night after night. It's extremely fortunate to, be selling out as well. Extremely happy and proud that it has touched a lot of people in the way that it has, especially people that are fans of musicals and people that are fans of the work that we do. So thank you for all of that. I hope tonight's the show was great. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you enjoyed meeting everyone this evening. That's it. Over and out. So,